Hi, and welcome back to Blue's Garden. This is transplanting Brussels sprouts, which is one of my favorite side dishes to make. I am sorry. I've actually been away traveling. I spent a week of work out in Seattle, and literally the only pictures of the mountains I have are from the runway as I was taking off to come back to Logan Airport in Boston. I had a wonderful time, great client. Went very well, but didn't get to shoot anything because it was rainy and cloudy all day. So, no photography other than from the plane. Beautiful mountains out there. And then 6 hours and 2 movies later, there's P-Town and off in the distance, those tiny little specks of light. So here we go. Planting Long Island Brussels sprouts, 85 to 100-day Brussels sprouts. I do what I normally do, which is in any 6-pack. I will plant 1 to 2 seeds per cell, and that way there I know I get germination in just about every single cell. Sometimes I just have to trim later. I'm planted in a very finely sifted seed mix. I sift any of the big pieces out. It's mostly a nice, thin, loose seed mix. I also planted some Catskill 85 to 110-day Brussels sprouts. I'm assuming these will be a slightly longer, and then I won't have everything come due at the same time. Again, similar 1 to 2 per cell. End up with some decent germination. Pat down the seeds so I get good contact with seed and soil. And then my final that I planted was a couple of seeds of what I had, which was called red rubine. It's sort of a reddish-purple Brussels sprout, and I thought I would give that a shot. I only had a few seeds of those, so again, pat it down, get some good contact. There's really only 3 seeds in there, and let's see what happens. Excited to try it. And then, of course, absolutely important, label everything. Everything went onto a heat mat with some warmth, so you get some nice warmth for the soil or for the seed germination. Heat mat, a little bit of water on top to just wet it down, and then I bottom water for the most part in the bottom of the tray. And I always try and keep everything moist so nothing dries out. After a few days, my friends start to show up. After a couple of weeks, things look good. And then it's time for potting up. It's a painful thing, but we absolutely have to do it. If you grow 2 or 3 in a cell, you're going to have to trim some out. So, starting with the Long Island Brussels sprouts, I start with my larger size cells, a bit of potting mix soil, again, very finely sifted, so that none of the big pieces are in there. But potting mix has more soil than the seed mix, which is usually a soilless mix. Pull from the tray with the bottom of my spoon. I will then trim a couple of the smaller ones out and leave only 1 per tray, per cell, this larger 2x2 tray. 3x3 cell. And again, fill with some soil around the sides and pat it down so there's no air pockets. Label each cell up and similar, just keep going. I have 2 to 3 that I trim down to 1 per 3-inch square pot. A couple of days later, a couple of weeks later, I eventually, around the beginning of April, started hardening off, which is the process of day 1, I take all the plants outside for 1 day, 1 hour. Day 1, 1 hour. Day 2, 2 hours. Day 3, bring them outside for 4 hours, then back inside. Day 4 for 6 hours and back inside. Day 5, 8 hours. Day 6, 8 hours. And then on day 7, I bring them out in the morning, and I am actually going to transplant them. Brussels sprouts, and we are putting them in the ground today. We're going to pop them into... No idea what happened here. It looks like the audio cut out. Anyway, these guys are going into 10-gallon fabric grow pots. They have my usual mix of 1/3 peat, 1/3 soil from last year's grow bags, and 1/3 new compost. So I will take all of that, dump all these bags together, mix them up into a big thing, and then I will begin to start planting them out. As you can see, these guys have really decent root development. I will pop the seedling out of the tray, out of its little cell, tickle the roots a little just to loosen them up some, dig a little bit in. I don't want to bury it too much. You don't want it past the crown of where the current plant is. Get some good contact between the grow bag soil and the new plant. Same thing, just keep going. These first few, I'm going to end up with 3 Long Island Brussels sprouts. Again, pop it out, good root development, tickle the bottoms to loosen up the roots some, give a little hole for where I'm planting, and then pop it in. Get a little pressure down, push it down, don't crush it, but, good contact. Label everything. So 1, 2, 3 Brussels sprouts, Long Island Brussels sprouts. Those were the 85 to 100 day. And then after that, rinse and repeat. But then after that was 2 of the Catskills Brussels sprouts, which was the 85 to 100 day. 110 day, which means these guys are going to take longer for maturation, which means I'm not going to be harvesting everything at the same time. Of course, I might not be harvesting anything. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, so 1, 2, 3 Long Island, 1, 2 Catskill, and then the final one is the Rubin. And you can see here, there's already purple in the leaves and whatnot. Then I have the 1/3 1/3 compost, 1/3 peat, 1/3 soil. I added a little bit of worm castings, which is a 1/1/1, and some Dr. Earth's granular, which was a 3/6/4. Sometimes I do tomato tone, which is, I believe, a 3/3/2, or it's pretty even anyway. I mix it all together, and then I will top dress. Add in some of last year's soil, and then I will top dress all of the different plants, fabric grow bags with this little mix. That way there they have a little bit of some fresh organic fertilizer. The organic fertilizer went in the bottom a few weeks ago. It takes a couple of weeks for things to be broken down. So this new stuff I'm adding in will take a couple more weeks to be broken down. The old stuff will be ready for the plants. And I got 1 spare. I may put it in later. It's a Long Island. So 3 of the Long Island, 2 Catskill, and this final Rubin, the sort of reddish one. It's going to have told, deeper, darker, more burgundy Brussels sprouts. Thanks for joining me. I truly hope you appreciate it. And please share. Definitely give this a share. Oh, and by the way, this last clip is what it looks like after I got back from Seattle. Thanks. Thanks, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more Blues Garden tips.